Hey guys, how's it going? So, the first dev blog for Anno 117 detailing actual gameplay and giving us some lovely screenshots and a GIF. I'm sorry, it's a GIF, not a GIF. I'm calling it a GIF. Has been released to us over on the Anno Union website. This is the first of two blogs talking about roads. So let's dive in and take a look and see what we are getting in Anno 117 when it comes to the new road system. So first of all, of course, they are talking about just, roads in general, what roads are in Anno, how they relate to your town. They're needed for connecting everything, your houses, your production buildings, your farms, everything has to be connected to roads that connect back to your harbor. They also play a key role for city planning, and they help organize different parts of your island. And of course, your feedback units, your pedestrians, animals, your wanderers and stuff, those all show up on the roads. So roads are, of course, a major foundational part of Anno. And like I said, there's going to be two parts in this. In this blog, we're going to give an overview of the gameplay experience and what's changed. In the second blog, they're going to be doing a deep dive into the how and why, the technical details, and the challenges that they faced when creating this new road system. And of course, we have a look. This is actually our first screenshot that we are getting to see. Well, one of a couple screenshots in this blog with actual buildings and stuff. So you can see this does, it feels like Anno 1800, but the visuals feel better. That sunset and everything and the clouds feel so much better. It just looks prettier. And I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, this feels like I'm looking at something from antiquity. Whereas in Anno 1800, I really felt like I was looking at something in the industrial era. The color palette and everything really, really fits. This right here looks like to be a wheat farm of some kind, probably like a little grain farm or something with some farmhouses in it. And you can see that road curving around nicely. And as you can see, the farm fits that road perfectly. Beauty builders gonna love this, seriously. So one of the really interesting things I saw first was this was not the first time they thought about breaking up the usual 90-degree grid for Anno. Each time they tried to do it, though, they apparently ran into different issues, and they felt like the solution was not going to live up to what they thought was important for the game, and they decided to spend time on other features. Obviously, you cannot just simply rework the Anno grid system. It's not that simple as just, okay, I'm going to have curved roads now, because it's built into the engine, and they had to rebuild a major part of the engine for this. So Anno 117 Pax Romana gives us the ability now for 45-degree angles of roads and buildings. Now, some people are going to be like, but I thought they said curved roads. Well, we're going to get to that. Just hold on. We now have the ability for 45-degree roads and buildings, so they can be built on either 90 or 45. This is not a true freeform system, kind of like Manor Lords or like City Skylines, where there's a microgrid that you can build all kinds of wild angles, a 10-degree angle or whatever. This is either 90 or 45. They've been putting work into making the corners and street connections look smoother, creating automatically smooth curves instead of sharp corners. The streets are also automatically adjust and straighten when buildings are placed near them. Really cool little feature and everything. That way, if you have a curved road area, but you try to put a building on it, that part of the curved road can straighten out to allow for the building on it. Pretty nice little system. As expected, the roads and stuff do the normal things. They adjust to the terrain elevation, they create bridge. And there's also a pier style version when built on the coast. So we are, we're getting that back from docklands and everything in Anno 1800 when they allowed roads to be built out onto the water and they turned into a quay road. This sounds like it's going to be a pier style version, probably something more like a boardwalk, like a wooden pier or something. So I think that'll be a really nice visual transition right there between our mainland and the coastal areas. So now we're going to get a little more technical here, and this image right here really shows how the road system differs. In Anno 1800, we just had single tile grids, and if you wanted to build a, quote, curved road, you would build it as a stair step, and they have a picture down here showcasing that. This is what a lot of people did, and they called it organic. because it, it's not straight. It goes at a quote again angle. But obviously it's not a true angle. It's stair-steppy. I always go to the stair-step thing. I never liked it. I always thought it looked weird. People would do it, be like, "Oh, it's organic," and I'm like, "No, not really." What's really cool now is the tiles in Anno 117 are subdivided into 4 quadrants. 4 little quadrants within each tile, allowing for the roads to be built, roads and buildings to be built on those subtiles as well. It's really, really cool. As you can see, the difference now is we can do something like this. That end right there is a little funny, but we can make some curved roads, and we can make this nice simple curve. Now, the way it's actually done is that the streets are now actually like graphs. The streets themselves aren't rendered per se, tile by tile. What you're doing is you're telling the game, I want to start a road here and I want to end it here. And then the game goes through and determines what that curve is going to be based on how you have built it. So instead of like plotting out 3 points like you would in Anno 1800, where you draw over and draw up, now we're going to draw over, up, and it's going to create this curve right here. Now, it is, of course, completely possible, and they have told us this, that we can not do the curves, that you can disable the curves and you can draw a perfectly straight grid like you did in Anno 1800. So the curved roads and this new style of road building still allows for your regular 90-degree roads and your perfect little grids and stuff that your min-maxers play with. But for beauty builders, we can do things like this and have curves and everything. So it's really nice that they are basically giving us the option on how all of that works. And even with this kind of, janky little drawing that I'm guessing Ollie did, this right here would still be considered 90-degree, even though it's curved. Your building will still fit in this. It will still fit right there and over here. Your buildings will still fit on this, even though it looks curved. It's technically not. It's just the visual of it. So it's really, really cool. They do say one downside is you can't have single tile roads anymore. In Anno 1800 and all the other Annos, if we just needed, a 1x1 tile of road, we could just place down that 1x1 tile of road. Can't do that anymore. Roads do have to be at least 2 grid tiles long in order for the new mapping system to come through and everything, and for it to work and connect the roads up. The next part of the blog just kind of, continues talking about this. This right here is how the road tiles worked in Anno 1800. They had all of these, all these different road tiles right here, and each one was a different art asset piece, and then they would connect together to create larger roads. Obviously, this is out the window now with how the roads are done and graphed between multiple points. In 45 degrees, the number of possible intersections, does drastically increase. Calculating the number is actually not trivial because street intersections are not limited to one tile, so they can overlap with other intersections, creating some big messes and everything. The art team decided a smaller subset of pieces, which would then be assigned to the correct position to form roads based on the code created by the 3D programming team. And so what they showed right here is how this might look. We can have, you got this road coming down and then curving up. You've got a cross piece. You've got a road coming out at an angle from the middle of it. You've got this mess right here. And then, of course, you can see right here, we still do have a nice, perfect 90 degrees like normal. So the next part of the blog is building smoothly. Important for us was that players can switch between the good old 4 directions that serve the Anno series so well, or all 8 directions we now offer you on the fly. You can enable or disable the option at any time. That should be end of the story for everyone that has been complaining so much, saying that curved roads destroy the Anno franchise. They're not going to be able to build efficiently anymore because everything's curved. Don't complain. If you don't like the curved roads, just don't use them. Keep building with your regular, efficient 90-degree grids. There's going to be zero stopping you. zero stopping you from doing that. You're going to be able to build however best suits your play style. And everything still works, whether it's on 90 or on 45. Doesn't matter. There is one really cool little thing that they showcase in this nice little GIF right here. You see them building the road over to it, and then they mouse over the building with the road tool, and it automatically surrounds the building with a road with roads. So really nice little quality of life feature right there. If you want to surround a building with roads, now you can just click on the building and it automatically surrounds it. Another thing I've noticed right here is that when you do it, you see these little highlighted areas, because this is on a 45 degree. So you can see those highlighted areas are showing where it's connecting up to the road. So you can have a 90 degree road connecting up to a 45 degree building because of those subtiles and everything. So I think it's a really cool little feature right there that they have added in. So there's a couple of people from the design team and everything that do have a little bit of insight on this. Nicholas says he personally likes having different neighborhoods, different clusters of residences and production, and each one can have a different orientation. I also like to orient element based on the shape of the mountains, coasts, and rivers. It creates a very dense and optimal clusters and still feels very organic. One of his favorite aspects is to have farm fields with various shapes. Bye-bye angular farm fields. I do love that. Referring back to the picture earlier showing the farm within the curvy road and everything. Let's go back and look at that. So this right here looks like a similar farm setup to what we had in 1800. You had your farmhouse, and it probably has, I don't know, 100, let's just say 100 tiles. That 100 tiles of farm, it gets drawn out and follows the road. So it's still, it may not be the most efficient layout, but it still works, even with the curved roads. They've made it all be able to work and blend in so nicely with this, and I really, really appreciate that. Johannes says, or Johannes, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, says, I usually play in a manner where I want to reach my next goal as efficiently as possible, and for me, that works best when fully sticking to 90 degrees. However, it's a totally different thing when playing multiplayer. My focus then switches away from building efficiently towards building more interesting looking districts. This takes more time and space, but also feels rewarding when I can delight and surprise my multiplayer partner with a more organic look. So, player agency. Giving the choice to the player on how you want to build your city. Do you want to play efficiently, trying to maximize every available tile the best way possible to squeeze in as much population and production as you possibly can on your island? Or do you want to build something that looks really pretty or fits into a weird little niche on the island? You might have a whole island of perfect grid, perfect 90 degree, but there might be like a weird kind of part of the island where actually if you flipped it to a 45, you might actually gain more space. That's a possibility as well. So there's lots of possibilities with this. I think it's going to be really cool. And on the outro, as you can see, Anno 117 Pax Romana stays true to the grid, while introducing flexibility on top of what you're used to. It came with their own sets of challenges during design and development, but new opportunities to change up the visual style of your cities and islands, more freedom to build how you want, and despite the added complexity through the diagonal option, building roads in this expanded grid feels as intuitive as before. Other features in the game use a similar functionality to the road, more on that later. Completely unrelated, did you know that historical Romans built a ton of aqueducts? Okay, so aqueducts confirmed via this blog right here, and it sounds like they're going to use a very similar system to the roads on how those are built. I can't wait to see more information on that later. So there we go, guys. There is our first true dev blog for Anno 117. We've all been anxiously awaiting this dev blog to come out and see what is coming for us in the game. And I think this is great to start with the roads because there's been many, many questions over the roads, how they're going to work, what they're going to look like. How do curved roads work? And I think this was a great place for them to start. Let me know your thoughts down below on this new road system and how it might benefit you, or what, if you have any questions about it, or if you're not sure about something, drop that stuff down in the comments and we can talk about it and see what we can figure out. Until the next one, guys, thank you for watching and take care.